different courtyards. We have the main courtyard here, which was for the male captives, inner courtyard for female slaves, and also extensions made by the Dutch for more captives. At the center of the most dungeon was the Portuguese church, the first Roman Catholic church built in Ghana in 1596. When the Dutch came, they were called Protestants, meaning so many churches were combined. So please, they divided the building into two, as you can see there. They slashed the tower of it, used the upper portion as their junior soldiers' mess, and the down trade auction hall for captives. Today, Ghana is a museum for us. The Dutch went on top of the female dungeon for their church. With the exception of the Portuguese church here, all the single rooms at the ground floor were serving as the dungeons for the male captives. The first floor were rooms for soldiers, merchants, and pastors. Second floor for deputy governor, last floor for the governor. So in the castle here, the higher one was being perceived, the higher hills. Please permit me to go a little bit deeper into the history of Elmina Castle. The Portuguese were trying to discover the sea route to India, where they were obtaining spices and other goods from. But they made a stopover in Elmina, that was in 1471, to establish trade and also to spread Christianity. The system of the trade at that time was the barter trade system, that was exchange of goods for goods. So they introduced guns, gunpowder, tobacco, spirituous liquor, enamel bowls, etc. to be exchanged with our local goods, talking of gold, ivory, spices, and other African artifacts. But here the major commodity the Portuguese were solely interested in was the gold. So the rate at which locals were giving out the gold gave them the impression that the land was in abundance of it. So they then named the gold in their language called Elmina, meaning the mine. But locals couldn't pronounce it well, and they said Elmina. So meaning that Elmina wasn't the right name for the village there, but at first it was called Anom Ansa Krom locally. But you can say inexhaustible supply of water. When the Portuguese came, at first they needed a place that can serve as storerooms for goods, and also a place that they can lodge to protect their trade and then their traders. So they negotiated over a piece of land from the king at that time called Nana Kwamina Ansa I, and he gave them the plot of land. In starting the castle, the Portuguese brought 12 ships, which was full of building materials, 600 men from Portugal, and the leader that led them was called Don Diego de Azambuja. So the proposed plan was to build a fort, which started from the inner courtyard. Please, we'll go there and I'll show you the place. So initially, all the down rooms there were serving as storerooms for goods. But in 16th century, 1500s, Portuguese shifted attention from barter trade to human trade. They then extended the castle to this portion, turned all the down rooms into dungeons for captives. In 1596 and 1625, the Dutch attacked the Portuguese here, but the Dutch were defeated. Reason being that the Dutch were attacking Portuguese from the seaward, and the Portuguese were very strong on the sea. So the Dutch then moved to a place called Mori. That's about 25 kilometers away from here in Ghana. They built a fort there and named the fort Fort Nassau. The Dutch lodged there, traded with people around, and also finally attacked the Portuguese here in 1637. And please, this attack came from two fronts. That was from the seaward and from the hinterland, on top of a hill called Hiljago. So when the Dutch succeeded, they built a fort there for soldiers to protect the castle, extended the castle, and also continued the slavery. 1872, when the English came, they used this castle as their sub-administration center. But during the Second World War, English brought men from all the West African countries, except Liberia, to be trained here as the Royal West African Frontier Force. And these men were taken to Burma and India to fight. But after the Second World War, the English used the castle as a police training school. But please, not forgetting, the English built Cape Coast Castle for slavery as well. So here we have a brief history about Elmina Castle. Please, the tour is a walking tour, so we have to be going around so that further can be explained. If you have any question, please you can ask before we continue. Okay, so please, before we move, Elmina Castle has seen a lot of innovations. It has been plastered, painted, the doors, the windows, they are not original. The castle was built with bricks, and as you can see, you have the reddish bent bricks and yellowish ones. The Portuguese introduced the reddish bricks, whilst the Dutch also renovated with yellowish bricks. Please, you go this way.